About the authors. Huwaida Araf, US Israel/Palestine. Huwaida is a Palestinian with American and Israeli citizenship. She received her bachelor's degrees from the University of Michigan and her Juris Doctor from American University, 2007. In 2001 Huwaida co-founded the International Solidarity Movement, ISM, which has twice been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. She is co-author of the book Peace Under Fire, Israel, Palestine, and the International Solidarity Movement. From 2007 to 2008 Huwaida taught in a human rights law clinic at Al-Quds University in Jerusalem, the first legal clinic in the Arab world. She was on the maiden voyage to Gaza in August 2008, and after that led 3 more successful sea voyages to the Gaza Strip as well as 2 voyages that were attacked by Israel. Huwaida is currently the chairperson of the Free Gaza movement. Vittorio Arrigoni, Italy. Vittorio, Vic, had wide experience in international charity work and in the battle for human rights in Europe, Eastern Europe and Africa. In 2003, Vittorio made his first visit to Palestine, initially in a work camp managed by International Palestinian Youth League in East Jerusalem, and later in Nablus in the Balata refugee camp. In 2006, he attempted to return to Palestine, but he was denied entry. He was held in Israeli detention for a week while appealing the decision, then he was expelled from the country. In August 2006, at the request of the European Union, Vittorio attended the first free elections in the Democratic Republic of the Congo as an international observer. Vic arrived on the maiden Free Gaza boats in August 2008 and stayed in Gaza. After being abducted in Gaza waters by the Israeli Navy and deported in November 2008, Vic immediately returned again to Gaza on a refugee boat. He was there during the winter of 2008 to 2009, and his book, Gaza, Stay Human, Cube Publishing, 2010, is his eyewitness testimony of Israel's attack on Gaza at that time. Vittorio managed one of the most popular blogs in Italy at guerrillaradio.ibloggo.com. He later returned to Gaza, volunteering with the International Solidarity Movement, ISM. Vic was murdered in his beloved Gaza on April 14, 2011 by a little-known faction there. His tragic death has devastated the activist and Palestinian communities who knew and loved him for his joy of life. The Second Freedom Flotilla has been named Stay Human in his honor. Eva Bartlett, Canada. Eva is a Canadian human rights advocate and freelancer who spent 8 months in 2007 working with the International Solidarity Movement, ISM, in West Bank communities, documenting Israeli soldier and settler aggressions against Palestinian civilians. See ARP 2007.wordpress.com. After spending 4 months trying to enter the Gaza Strip via Egypt, Eva sailed to Gaza with the third Free Gaza movement boat in November 2008 and lived in the Strip until June 2010. Before the Israeli war on Gaza in the winter of 2008 to 2009, Eva and ISM members accompanied fishermen on the sea, while Israeli gunboats opened fire with live ammunition and water cannons on the unarmed fishermen. During the Israeli massacre of Gaza, she and other ISM members accompanied ambulances while witnessing and documenting the Israeli airstrikes and ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. Following the war on Gaza, Eva and the ISM continued accompanying farmers to their land in border areas, where Israeli soldiers target farmers and other civilians with live ammunition. Eva also participated in the Palestinian-led non-violent demonstrations against the Israeli-imposed buffer zone, in which dozens of farmers, civilians, and demonstrators have been killed and injured by Israeli firing and shelling. Eva blogs about the situation at Gaza in Gaza.wordpress.com and is writing a book about her years in Palestine. Greta Berlin, US, and France. Greta is one of the 5 co-founders of the Free Gaza movement. Greta has worked for justice for the Palestinians since the early 1960s. She is the mother of 2 Palestinian American children whose father was born and raised in Safford, Palestine and was forced to flee there in 1948. She has been an outspoken advocate for the rights of Palestinians and has spoken and written extensively on the issue. Greta was in the West Bank 3 times since 2003, working with the ISM either in the occupied towns of Bilin, Jenin or Ramallah, or working in the media office. She was wounded in the leg by Israeli gunfire in July 2003 while protesting Israel's apartheid wall. She was on the first boat into Gaza and has either organized or been in charge of the London media team for most of the other voyages of the Free Gaza movement. When not working for the rights of Palestinians, Greta teaches engineers and scientists how to design and deliver presentations. Lauren Booth, UK. A broadcaster and journalist, Lauren Booth first traveled to the West Bank in 2005 and returned in 2007 and 2009. While living in Gaza, she witnessed the daily humiliation suffered by the Palestinian people under occupation. During the first Free Gaza mission, Lauren was aboard one of the 2 ships to break Israel's sea blockade of the Palestinian coast, an experience she describes as the greatest moment of her life. She presents the groundbreaking program Remember Palestine on Press TV, working closely with a variety of groups committed to ending Israel's illegal occupation and the siege of Gaza. Bjorn Borg, Sweden. Bjorn is the president of the Swedish Port Workers Union. Eva Boss, Sweden. A journalist, Eva has been covering the Middle East while based in Cyprus since 1991. Cyprus has good communication and good relations with both the Arab world and Israel. She began as a volunteer at Västmanlands Landstidning. After receiving a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science and Sociology, she went to work for the Swedish newspaper Svenska Dagbladet's suburban capital press. This was followed by a newspaper job with Stockholm newspaper Svenska Dagbladet and Aftonbladet, and the now defunct news agency FLT. She came to Cyprus as the Middle East correspondent for the FLT. She now works as a freelance journalist. Bill Dienst, MD, US. Bill is a family and emergency room physician from Omakhantanasket, towns in rural Washington in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. In 1985, after an intensive summer course in Arabic, Bill took an extra year of medical school and spent 6 months in Egypt, the West Bank, and Gaza volunteering with various Palestinian healthcare organizations, initially with the Palestine Red Crescent Society, which was headquartered in Egypt. He has been to Palestine a total of 6 times on trips, sponsored by the Gaza Community Mental Health Program, by Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility, and with the Palestine Medical Relief Society. He was on the maiden voyage of the Free Gaza movement. Mona El Farah, MD, Gaza, Palestine. Dr. Mona is a Palestinian from Gaza who wears many hats. She is a physician by trade and a human and women's rights activist by practice. She is currently the chair of Gaza Red Crescent Heath Care Committee, but has also worked with Al-Orda Hospital in Jabalia Refugee Camp and Union of Health Workers Committee. She is also the project's director for Gaza for the Middle East Children's Alliance, MICA. Petros Giatis, Greece. Petros Giatis was born in 1956 in Philippiada, a small town of Epirus, Greece. After high school in Philippiada, he went to Salonika and completed a chemical engineering degree at Polytechnic University. Petros has worked as a journalist since his early university years. He eventually became a professional journalist. Today, he is the chief editor for the Greek newspaper Contra. For many years he has been a pro-Palestinian author and activist. Jeff Halper, PhD, Israel. Jeff is an Israeli professor of anthropology and coordinator of the Israeli Committee Against House Demolitions, ICAHD, a non-violent Israeli peace and human rights organization that resists the Israeli occupation on the ground. In 2006, the American Friends Service Committee nominated Jeff to receive the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize with Palestinian intellectual and activist Ghassan Andoni. Jeff was on the first boat into Gaza in August 2008. Anis Hamadeh, Germany. Anis is a writer, musician, journalist, and editor of www.anisonline.de and www.nonkilling.de. Born in 1966 in Hamburg, his mother is German and his father is Palestinian. He spent 2 years in Baghdad and Alexandria, and has a Master of Arts in Islamic Studies, English, and Linguistics. He is the author of the book Islam for Kids, in German, and the translator of the book Non-Killing Global Political Science. Since 2005, he has lived in Mainz, Germany, where he works as a freelance copywriter and artist. From 2006 until 2008, he was the webmaster for the Free Gaza movement. Mary Hughes Thompson, US/UK. Mary is a retired TV documentarian and a co-founder of the Free Gaza movement. Before helping break the siege of Gaza on board the Free Gaza, she visited the West Bank 6 times during the current intifada. In 2002 she was beaten and robbed by American Jewish youths from the illegal settlement of Itamani and Nablus. Mary has gone back to the occupied West Bank to work with the ISM, and has also worked several times in Cyprus as part of the Free Gaza land team, most recently during the Freedom Flotilla voyage. She is also a licensed pilot. A long-time non-violent activist for Palestine, she was also a participant in the recent Gaza Freedom March in Cairo. Fathi Jawadi, Tunisia, UK. Fathi finished a master's degree in documentary filmmaking at Brunel University in London. See www.arabdochouse.org. Fathi was on the first voyage to Gaza, then has been on several of the voyages as one of the delegation leaders, and was on board the Dignity when Israel rammed it in international waters on December 30, 2008. He is on the board of directors of the Free Gaza movement, and has been one of the indefatigable fundraisers for the voyages. Hua Jasiewicz, UK Poland. Hua is an experienced journalist, union organizer, and solidarity worker. She arrived in Gaza on the Dignity and stayed. She was Gaza Project co-coordinator for the Free Gaza movement on the ground in Gaza during Israel's 2008-2009 winter massacre of Gaza. Operation Cast Lead. She is one of the primary organizers of the Freedom Flotilla, and was on the Challenger 1, when it was illegally boarded on May 31, 2010. Ramzi Kaiser, US. Ramzi is an Arab-American writer and nonviolence trainer and activist. Since September 11, he has spent almost 4 years working in the Middle East, including a year in Iraq with Voices in the Wilderness, a year in Lebanon, during the 2006 Israeli bombardment, and several months in Jordan, Syria, Yemen, and Palestine. He was last in Palestine in May to June 2005, before arriving in Gaza on the first voyage of the Dignity. He was a major part of the Cyprus land team during the maiden voyage of the Free Gaza and the Liberty. Fintan Lane, PhD, Ireland. Fintan is a Dublin-based member of the Free Gaza movement and the Ireland-Palestine Solidarity Campaign. He participated in the Freedom Flotilla, and was aboard Challenger 1, when the ships were attacked. He is an historian and the author of several books on Irish history. Paul Lerudi, PhD, US. Paul, a co-founder of the Free Gaza movement, is a San Francisco Bay Area activist on the issue of justice in the region known as Palestine, which includes Israel, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and Jerusalem. He was born to an Iranian Presbyterian minister and his American missionary spouse in 1946, and grew up in the American Midwest, and has been to the occupied West Bank several times as a member of the ISM. Ira Lee, US Brazil. Ira, an activist and filmmaker, founded the Caipirinha Foundation, which focuses on global solidarity, cultural diversity, and peace with justice. Under the umbrella of Cultures of Resistance, www.culturesofresistance.org, Ira is producing several shorts and a full-length documentary promoting conflict prevention and resolution. She is also working on a variety of arts, cultural, and diplomacy projects. She was on board the Mavi Marmara when it was attacked on May 31, 2010, and smuggled her chips out so the world could see what happened to the passengers. Her footage has now been used around the world to show what happened that terrible morning. Sherin Locke, Acapella, Australia. Sherin is originally from Australia, but now lives in the United Kingdom. A veteran ISM activist in the West Bank, and was badly wounded in an Israeli attack there while working with the ISM in the occupied West Bank. She is one of the co-founders of Free Gaza, FG. After making the initial FG trip, she returned on the Dignity and was on the ground with other FG/ISM activists who directly witnessed the 22-day Israeli assault on Gaza in December 2008 to January 2009 called Operation Cast Lead.